Have you ever noticed something strange about the way money moves through your life? You work hard, you earn it, you hold it in your hands for just a brief moment, and then somehow, almost mysteriously, it vanishes. The bills get paid, the groceries get bought, and you're left standing in the same place you started, wondering why the cycle never seems to break. But what if I told you that the answer to your financial struggle isn't hidden inside a spreadsheet, a savings plan, or a side hustle? What if the real turning point happens in those 3 to 5 seconds when money is literally touching your skin? Joseph Murphy spent decades studying the relationship between human consciousness and material reality. He understood something that most financial advisors have never grasped, and probably never will, that the words leaving your mouth when you physically hold money are not just sounds. They are commands. Direct instructions being delivered to the most powerful computer ever created, your subconscious mind. And right now, most people are sending commands they would never consciously choose to send. Before we go deeper into this, if this kind of wisdom resonates with you, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. This channel exists for one reason only: to deliver the kind of transformational truth that changes lives without wasting a single minute of your time. Now let's get into what Joseph Murphy actually discovered, because it will change the way you touch money forever. Think about the last time you pulled cash out of your wallet to pay for something. What was the internal dialogue running through your mind in that moment? For most people it sounds something like this: "There goes more money I don't have," or "I hate how fast this disappears," or "I'll never get ahead." You may not say these words out loud, but your subconscious mind doesn't require volume. It requires repetition. And if you have been handling money your entire adult life while broadcasting those internal signals, you have spent years, possibly decades, programming yourself for financial limitation without ever realizing it. Joseph Murphy understood this mechanism with extraordinary clarity. He wrote extensively about the subconscious mind as a faithful servant that never questions its instructions. It doesn't evaluate whether your commands are wise or foolish, helpful or destructive. It simply executes, with perfect loyalty and perfect consistency. It builds your reality around whatever you repeatedly tell it. And nowhere is this programming more powerful than in the moments of physical contact. The moments when your nervous system is engaged, when your senses are activated, when money is warm in your hand and your brain is fully present. These are not ordinary moments. These are what Murphy called gateway moments. And most people are walking through that gateway in the wrong direction every single day. Type "waking up now" in the comments if you're starting to realize how many of these gateway moments you may have already walked through unconsciously. Now here is where the science becomes impossible to ignore. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Joseph Murphy described through spiritual language decades ago. Your brain operates on the principle of neural reinforcement. Every thought you think while experiencing a physical sensation creates a neural connection, a literal biological bridge in your brain. The more you repeat that combination of thought and sensation, the stronger and more automatic that bridge becomes. So when you handle money while feeling anxiety, the bridge between money and anxiety grows thicker and more hardwired with every transaction. When you handle money while feeling resentment, you are constructing a neural highway between money and suffering. And your brain, being the efficient machine it is, begins to activate that highway automatically before you even consciously register what you're feeling. This is why so many intelligent, hardworking, genuinely deserving people remain financially stuck. It has nothing to do with their work ethic or their intelligence. It has everything to do with what their hands and their mouths are doing at the same time, specifically during those brief but extraordinarily powerful moments when money is in their possession. But here is the revelation that changes everything. The same mechanism that has been working against you can be flipped with surgical precision. The same neural reinforcement that built pathways of scarcity can build pathways of abundance. The same gateway moments that have been programming limitation can begin programming prosperity. And it starts with something so simple it will almost seem too easy. It starts with the exact words you say when you touch money. If this is already shifting something inside you, drop the words "Joseph Murphy was right" in the comments below. Let me share something that happened to a man I'll call Daniel. Daniel was a mid-level manager at a logistics company. Steady income, reasonable job, no dramatic financial disasters. But for 15 years, no matter how much he earned, he never seemed to move forward. Raises got absorbed. Bonuses disappeared. Savings never grew past a certain invisible ceiling. He wasn't irresponsible. He wasn't careless. He was stuck in what Joseph Murphy would describe as a prosperity ceiling, an invisible upper limit installed by years of unconscious money programming. Daniel started practicing something remarkably simple. Every single time money came into his hands, whether it was his paycheck, change from a cashier, or a single dollar found in an old jacket, he would pause for just 2 or 3 seconds and say quietly, but with genuine feeling, "Thank you. More is coming. This money is proof that abundance flows to me." He told me that in the first week it felt ridiculous, almost embarrassing. His rational mind pushed back hard, but he committed to 30 days of consistency. By the end of the second week, something subtle shifted. He started noticing opportunities he had previously walked past without registering. A conversation with a colleague led to a freelance consulting opportunity. A phone call he'd been putting off for months resulted in a long, overdue reimbursement he had completely forgotten about. By the end of the 30 days, his financial picture had not transformed overnight, but the ceiling was gone. Within 8 months, Daniel had doubled his outside income, paid off a credit card he'd carried for 6 years, and begun building savings that actually grew instead of evaporating. The change wasn't in his circumstances. It was in his commands. He changed the instructions he was feeding his subconscious during those gateway moments, and his subconscious, that faithful servant Joseph Murphy described, began building an entirely different reality in response. Now let's get into the exact words, the precise declarations that create this shift, because this is not about vague positivity or forced cheerfulness. These are carefully structured statements that work on multiple levels simultaneously. They reprogram your subconscious expectations, they shift your energetic broadcast, and they interrupt the automatic patterns of scarcity thinking that have been running on autopilot for years. The first and perhaps most foundational declaration to speak whenever you receive money in any form is this: "I am grateful for this money and I welcome infinitely more." Say those words out loud right now if you're in a place where you can. Notice how your body responds. For most people, there is an immediate physical difference between saying that phrase and saying something like "I never have enough." Your nervous system responds to language in real time. Your posture changes. Your breathing shifts. Your brain chemistry is literally different. This is not metaphor. This is measurable biology responding to conscious intention. The word grateful is doing profound work in that statement. Gratitude is not a soft or passive emotion. Neurologically, it is one of the most powerful states you can activate. When you feel genuine gratitude, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, it lowers cortisol, and it opens what researchers call broadened awareness, a state where your mind literally perceives more possibilities in your environment. You notice more. You recognize more. You attract more not through magic, but through the very real neuroscience of expanded perception. Joseph Murphy understood this intuitively long before brain scans could confirm it. He knew that a grateful mind is a prosperous mind because it is a mind oriented toward receiving rather than defending. The phrase "infinitely more" is equally important. Most people unconsciously cap their financial expectations. They allow themselves to hope for a little more, a modest raise, a small improvement. But the subconscious mind doesn't work in increments, it works in blueprints. When you declare infinitely more, you are removing the invisible ceiling from your financial blueprint and instructing your subconscious to stop filtering out opportunities that exceed what you've previously permitted yourself to receive. If this is resonating at a deep level, type "removing my ceiling" in the comments below. The second declaration is for the moments when you are spending or paying. These are the moments there's the most damage for most people because they trigger the strongest feelings of loss, depletion, and anxiety. When you hand over money at a register, when you pay a bill, when you make any outgoing payment, say this: I release this money with joy and it returns to me multiplied. Every single word in that statement is doing specific psychological work. Release rather than lose or spend eliminates the language of depletion. You are not losing money. You are releasing energy that is in motion. Joy directly counters the resentment and resignation most people feel when paying. And returns to me multiplied is perhaps the most important phrase because it reframes the entire transaction. You are not ending a financial interaction. You are initiating one. You are planting something that will grow. Joseph Murphy wrote extensively about the circulation of abundance and how money by its nature is meant to move. He observed that the people who clutch money most desperately from a place of fear are consistently the ones who have the least of it, while those who release it consciously, with the understanding that circulation creates abundance, are the ones who watch it return in greater and greater quantities. This isn't mysticism. It's the observable pattern of every wealthy individual who has ever examined their own relationship with money honestly. Now I want to go even deeper into this because there is a third declaration that most people never discover, and it addresses something Joseph Murphy called the poverty agreement. This is the unspoken contract most people make with lack, usually in childhood, reinforced throughout their adult lives. The poverty agreement lives in phrases like money has always been tight in our family, or I'm just not the kind of person who has a lot of money, or rich people are different from me. These statements aren't harmless observations, they are identity declarations. And your subconscious mind, hearing them repeated, builds an identity around them, complete with automatic behaviors, perceptions, and decisions that keep that identity intact. The declaration that dissolves the poverty agreement is this: I am someone to whom money naturally flows. Wealth is my natural state and I claim it now. Say that and notice what happens internally. For many people, a voice immediately arises, the voice of the poverty agreement, pushing back, calling the statement a lie, feeling uncomfortable or even foolish. That discomfort is not a sign the practice isn't working. It is the exact sign that it is. You are pressing against the edges of an installed belief system that has been occupying space in your subconscious for years, possibly decades. The resistance you feel is the sound of old programming being confronted by new instructions. Consistency is what determines which set of instructions wins. Joseph Murphy was emphatic on this point. One declaration spoken once has limited power. The same declaration spoken with feeling during every money interaction for 30, 60, 90 days rewires the subconscious at a foundational level. You are not trying to convince your conscious mind of something. Your conscious mind is already on board. You are recoding the deeper layer, the layer that runs automatically, the layer that has been running financial programs you didn't consciously choose. Drop reprogramming my wealth identity in the comments if you are ready to dissolve the poverty agreement. There is a fourth declaration, and this one specifically addresses something rarely discussed in financial transformation content: your relationship with money that is already gone. Most people carry an invisible weight of financial regret. Money lost in bad decisions, money spent on things that didn't matter, money that slipped away during difficult seasons. This regret creates a constant low-level frequency of guilt and grief around money that subtly repels abundance. Your subconscious associates money with pain, and your nervous system begins steering you away from it unconsciously, avoiding checking your bank balance, procrastinating on financial decisions, sabotaging income opportunities before they fully materialize. The declaration for releasing financial regret is this: every dollar that has passed through my hands has served its purpose. I release the past with gratitude and I call forward unlimited new abundance. This statement does something remarkable. It closes the energetic loops of past financial experiences, the ones that are still running in the background of your awareness, quietly draining your prosperity signal. Joseph Murphy understood that the subconscious mind holds every unresolved financial experience as an open file, constantly consuming processing power. When you consciously release these experiences through intentional declaration, you free up that energy and redirect it toward building new financial reality rather than sustaining old financial wounds. Now I want to introduce you to a practice that Joseph Murphy described in different language, but that modern practitioners have refined into something extraordinarily powerful. It is called the money blessing ritual, and it takes less than 90 seconds to perform. Every morning, before the demands of the day begin and your conscious mind fills with tasks and obligations, take whatever physical money you have, even if it is a single bill or a handful of coins, and hold it in both hands. Feel the texture of it. Notice the temperature of it against your skin. Look at it with full attention and then speak these words with complete sincerity. I bless this money. I am grateful for this money. This money is a symbol of the infinite abundance that flows to me from seen and unseen sources. As I hold this money, I affirm that my life is filled with wealth, health, and unlimited opportunity. I am a magnet for prosperity, and everything I touch is blessed and multiplied. Then hold that feeling, the warmth of the money in your hands, the words you've just spoken for 30 seconds before setting it down and beginning your day. Joseph Murphy was specific about why morning matters for this practice. In the first 30 minutes after waking, your brain is still in a theta wave state, the same semi-hypnotic frequency that occurs just before sleep. In this state, the critical analytical faculty of your conscious mind is not yet fully engaged. The gates to your subconscious are still open. Instructions delivered during this window go deep. They bypass the habitual skepticism and embed directly into the programming layer where your automatic beliefs and behaviors are stored. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is the neurological mechanism by which lasting subconscious change is actually created. If you are committed to beginning this practice tomorrow morning, write morning rituals started in the comments and let that commitment become real. There is one more dimension of this practice that separates people who experience dramatic financial transformation from people who experience modest improvement. It is the emotional authenticity behind the declarations. Joseph Murphy was clear and consistent on this point across everything he wrote. It is not the words alone that carry power. It is the words combined with genuine feeling. The subconscious mind is not primarily a verbal processor. It responds to emotional signals, physical sensations, and vivid imagery. Words without feeling are like seeds dropped on concrete. They have potential but no medium in which to grow. This is why many people try affirmations and feel nothing has changed. They are speaking the words mechanically, waiting for something external to shift before they allow themselves to feel the corresponding emotion. But that sequence is backwards. The feeling must come first, or at least simultaneously. You must find a way to genuinely access the feeling of gratitude, the genuine sense of relief and expansion that comes with abundance, even in the absence of physical evidence. This is the practice that requires the most discipline and delivers the most extraordinary results. One technique for accessing this genuine feeling is what Joseph Murphy called the as-if principle. You do not pretend you already have unlimited wealth. Your subconscious is too sophisticated for crude pretense and will reject it. Instead, you find something within your current reality that is genuinely true and genuinely positive about your financial life. Perhaps you did pay your rent this month. Perhaps you did buy groceries. Perhaps you have a skill that has genuine market value. You find the real seed of abundance already present, and you amplify your genuine gratitude for it. From that authentic foundation, you then extend the feeling forward, allowing it to expand toward the declarations you are making. This is the difference between forcing a feeling you don't have and cultivating a feeling that is already true at some level. Joseph Murphy called this working with what is while commanding what will be. It is both honest and transformational simultaneously. Type authentic abundance in the comments if you understand the difference between forced positivity and genuine energetic alignment. Let me give you the complete set of declarations to begin using immediately so that you leave this video with something you can apply in the next hour of your life. When you receive money in any form, say this: I am grateful for this money and I welcome infinitely more. When you spend or pay money, say this: I release this money with joy and it returns to me multiplied. When you confront limiting beliefs about money, say this: I am someone to whom money naturally flows. Wealth is my natural state and I claim it now. When you feel regret about past financial experiences, say this: every dollar that has passed through my hands has served its purpose. I release the past with gratitude and I call forward unlimited new abundance. And every morning during your money blessing ritual, say this: I bless this money. I am grateful for this money. This money is a symbol of the infinite abundance that flows to me from seen and unseen sources. These 5 declarations, used consistently at the precise moments of money contact that Joseph Murphy identified as gateway moments, will do something that no budgeting app, no investment strategy, and no motivational podcast can do on its own. They will change the instructions running in your subconscious mind. And when your subconscious instructions change, your perceptions change. When your perceptions change, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your actions change. And when your actions change, your financial reality changes with a completeness and a speed that will genuinely surprise you. The words you speak when touching money are not just words, they are the source code of your financial future. Joseph Murphy understood this. The wealthiest people who have ever studied his work understood this. And now you understand it too. If this video has shifted something in your relationship with money, type prosperity activated in the comments below. Your words in that comment will be the first declaration you make in your new financial chapter. And if you found real value here, a like on this video takes 2 seconds and helps this wisdom reach someone who may be sitting right now in the exact financial frustration you were sitting in before you pressed play. Right beside this video, you will find one that goes even deeper into Joseph Murphy's prosperity principles, specifically how to apply them during the moments of greatest financial stress. Click it and let's keep going. There is something Joseph Murphy wrote that most people read past without fully absorbing. He said that the subconscious mind has no sense of humor, none whatsoever. It does not recognize sarcasm. It does not understand when you are venting frustration versus stating genuine belief. It does not distinguish between a casual complaint and a sincere declaration. It simply takes everything you repeatedly say and feel as an instruction to be carried out with complete faithfulness and unlimited creative power. Sit with that for a moment. Because if it is true, and the evidence across neuroscience, psychology, and the lived experience of thousands of people who have applied Murphy's principles suggests that it is, then the offhand comments most people make about money every single day are not harmless. They are not just expressions of frustration. They are orders being placed with the most powerful manufacturing system in existence. And that system has been filling those orders faithfully your entire life. How many times have you said something like, I'm always broke by the end of the month? How many times have you heard yourself say money just slips through my fingers? How many times have you joked with friends that you were born to be poor or that rich people live in a different universe from you? Each of those statements, spoken with feeling, repeated across months and years, has been processed by your subconscious mind as a specification, a detailed description of the financial reality it should construct and maintain for you. And it has delivered exactly what you ordered. This is not a reason for shame or self-criticism. Joseph Murphy was emphatic that self-blame has no place in this work whatsoever. You did not know what you were doing. You were operating on unconscious programming installed by your environment, your upbringing, the financial conversations you overheard as a child, the cultural narratives about money that surrounded you before you had any capacity to evaluate or reject them. You were not failing. You were simply running a program you were given without your knowledge or consent. But now you know, and that changes everything. Type "I am cancelling old orders" in the comments if you are ready to stop placing unconscious requests for financial limitation and begin placing conscious commands for abundance. Now I want to take you even deeper into something Murphy identified as one of the primary mechanisms through which prosperity declarations create real-world change. He called it the reticular activation of abundance, and while he used different language than modern neuroscientists use, the mechanism he described is now one of the most well-documented phenomena in cognitive psychology. Your brain processes approximately 11 million bits of information every single second. Your conscious mind can handle roughly 40 to 50 of those bits at any given moment. This means your brain is constantly making decisions about what to bring to your conscious attention and what to filter out. The system responsible for this filtering is called the reticular activating system, and it operates based on one primary criterion. It surfaces what you have trained it to believe is relevant and important to you. Here is why this matters profoundly for your financial life. When your dominant internal programming is one of scarcity, your reticular activating system filters your experience of reality through a scarcity lens. It surfaces evidence of lack and limitation. It highlights risks and obstacles. It filters out opportunities that don't match the financial blueprint your subconscious has been given. This is not pessimism or negativity in the ordinary sense. It is a neurological filtering function operating exactly as designed, simply pointed in the wrong direction. When you begin using prosperity declarations at the moments of money contact that Joseph Murphy identified as most powerful, you are not just changing your mood or your attitude. You are literally recalibrating this filtering system. You are reprogramming the criteria by which your brain decides what deserves your conscious attention, over time, and often far faster than people expect. This recalibration causes you to begin noticing things that were always present in your environment but were previously invisible to you. Opportunities, connections, ideas, conversations that lead somewhere unexpected, resources that were available all along. The financial transformation that follows is not supernatural, it is neurological. But the results feel miraculous because the shift in what you perceive and act upon creates outcomes so different from your previous experience that they seem to come from another dimension entirely. If you have ever had the experience of buying a car and then suddenly noticing that exact model everywhere on the road, you have experienced your reticular activating system in action. It was not that those cars suddenly appeared. They were always there. Your brain simply began filtering them in rather than out because they had become relevant to your internal programming. Prosperity declarations work on the same mechanism. You are making abundance relevant to your subconscious filters, and your brain begins surfacing it everywhere. Seeing abundance everywhere in the comments if this explanation has unlocked something for you. Let me introduce you now to what I consider the most underutilized tool in Joseph Murphy's entire body of work when it comes to money. It is the practice he called the evening review, and it requires nothing more than 5 minutes before you close your eyes at night. Murphy understood something about the sleeping mind that modern sleep researchers have since confirmed in extraordinary detail. The subconscious mind does not rest when you sleep, it intensifies during sleep, and particularly during the theta and delta wave states that dominate the first and last hours of the sleep cycle. Your subconscious is processing, consolidating, and reinforcing the emotional and cognitive patterns it received during your waking hours. Whatever you feed it in the moments immediately before sleep becomes the material it works with throughout the night. Most people feed their subconscious a diet of worry, review of the day's failures, anxiety about tomorrow's obligations, and financial stress right before they lose consciousness. And then they wonder why they wake up exhausted, anxious, and no closer to their financial goals than they were the night before. Their subconscious has been working all night, but working on the problems they handed it rather than the solutions they needed. The evening review practice changes this completely. Here is exactly how to do it. In the last 5 minutes before sleep, hold some physical money in your hands, even a single bill. Feel it, connect with it consciously, and then review your day specifically through the lens of abundance, not through rose-colored denial, but through a genuine search for every instance of financial flow that occurred, however small. Perhaps someone paid for your coffee. Perhaps you found a coupon that saved you money. Perhaps you received a compliment on your work that represents future earning potential. Perhaps you simply met your financial obligations for another day, which is itself evidence of abundance already present. Identify these moments and speak them aloud quietly. I received today. I gave today. Money moved through my life today and more is coming. Then close with this declaration. As I sleep tonight, my subconscious mind is working to create new channels of abundance. I wake tomorrow with new clarity, new opportunity, and new evidence of wealth flowing into my life. Joseph Murphy was unequivocal about the power of this practice. He described the sleeping mind as a tireless servant that will work through the night on whatever assignment you give it before you surrender to sleep. Most people give it their fears. He taught his students to give it their vision instead. Type "working while I sleep" in the comments if you are committing to this evening practice starting tonight. Now I want to address something that almost never gets discussed in conversations about prosperity consciousness, but that Joseph Murphy considered absolutely foundational. The quality of your physical relationship with the money you already have, not how much you have. The quality of how you treat what is already in your possession. Murphy observed a pattern across the financially abundant individuals he studied and worked with that was so consistent it could not be coincidental. Without exception, they treated physical money with a level of care and intentionality that most people reserve for genuinely precious objects. Their wallets were organized. Their bills were neat and faced the same direction. They did not leave coins scattered carelessly at the bottom of bags. They did not crumple receipts and stuff them alongside currency. They created what Murphy described as an honoring environment for the energy of money in their physical possession. This is not about perfectionism or superstition. It is about the signal you are sending to your subconscious mind through your behavior. Your subconscious observes everything you do, not just what you say. When you handle money carelessly, when you treat it as an annoyance or an afterthought, your subconscious registers this as a behavioral declaration. This is not something I value. This is not something worthy of my respect and attention. And operating on that declaration, it proceeds to ensure that money does not occupy a prominent place in your life. Conversely, when you handle money with care, when you organize it with intention, when you treat even a single coin as something worthy of respect, you are sending a completely different behavioral signal. This is valuable. This is welcome. I honor this energy in my life. And your subconscious, always building the reality that matches your dominant signals, begins constructing a financial life in which money is treated as the honored and respected presence you have demonstrated it to be. Beginning today, treat your wallet as a sacred container. Organize your bills face up and in order. Collect coins in a dedicated place rather than leaving them scattered. When you put money away, do so with presence and intention rather than distraction. These small physical acts are not trivial. They are the behavioral layer of your prosperity programming, and they work in concert with your verbal declarations to create a complete and consistent signal that the universe and your subconscious cannot ignore. Comment "honoring my money" now in the comments if you are ready to upgrade the physical relationship with the money already in your life. There is one final teaching from Joseph Murphy that I want to leave you with today because it is the truth that holds all of the other practices together. It is the understanding that you are not trying to attract something that is far away from you. You are not reaching across some vast distance for abundance that exists somewhere else and must be coaxed into your presence. Murphy's core conviction was that abundance is the natural state of the universe and therefore the natural state of every human being within it. Lack is not the default. Lack is the deviation. It is the result of interference, specifically the interference of fear-based programming layered over the naturally prosperous consciousness you were born with. What you are doing with these declarations, with these gateway moment practices, with the morning ritual and the evening review, with the physical honoring of money in your possession, is not creating something new from nothing. You are removing interference. You are clearing the static from a signal that has been broadcasting abundance all along. You are dissolving the layers of unconscious programming that have been blocking what was always available to you. This is why transformation can happen faster than anyone expects. You are not building from zero. You are removing obstacles from something that already exists and is already flowing toward you. The moment those obstacles begin to dissolve, abundance doesn't have to travel to reach you. It simply arrives because it was always there, waiting for the interference to clear. Joseph Murphy's greatest gift was not a technique or a formula. It was a perspective. The perspective that you are not broken, not unworthy, not excluded from prosperity by fate or circumstance or the family you were born into. You are simply someone who received some instructions that were not in your best interest and ran them faithfully because that is what human beings do. And you are someone who, in this moment, has the complete and total capacity to issue new instructions. The words you speak when money is in your hands are those new instructions. Speak them with feeling. Speak them with consistency. Speak them as someone who understands that they are not wishful thinking, but commands delivered to a system that has no choice but to respond. Your financial transformation does not begin someday. It does not begin when circumstances improve, or when you have more to work with, or when life becomes less complicated. It begins the next time money touches your hands, which means it begins today. Type "My transformation starts now" in the comments below if you are ready. And if this video has given you something real, something you can feel has shifted in your understanding, please share it with one person in your life who needs to hear it. Your act of sharing is itself a prosperity declaration, a statement to the universe that you live in a world of abundance worth passing on. Right next to this video is another one that takes Joseph Murphy's teachings into the specific area of debt and financial recovery. The exact words to say when you feel financially overwhelmed. Click it, and let's keep going together. There is a question Joseph Murphy asked his students that stopped most of them completely in their tracks. He would look at them directly and say this: if your subconscious mind were to play back every thought and every word you have produced in the presence of money over the last 12 months, would you be comfortable with what you heard? Most people, when they genuinely sit with that question, feel a quiet discomfort settle over them. Because they know the answer. They know that the soundtrack running through their mind during financial transactions has not been a soundtrack of abundance. It has been a running commentary of anxiety, resentment, resignation, and quiet desperation. But Murphy would follow that question with something equally powerful. He would say that the moment you recognize the program, you are no longer bound by it. Awareness is not just knowledge. Awareness is the beginning of authorship. The moment you see the story you have been unconsciously telling about money, you step outside of it. And from outside of it you have something you never had while living inside it. You have choice. That choice is what we are exercising today. Not just intellectually, not just philosophically, but in the most practical and immediate way possible. Through the specific words we choose to speak during the specific moments when money is physically present in our hands. Type "I am now the author of my financial story" in the comments if that distinction between unconscious programming and conscious authorship has landed for you. Now I want to take you into territory that Joseph Murphy explored extensively, but that very few teachers who reference his work ever actually discuss. The relationship between self-worth and net worth. Murphy was not the first to notice this connection, but he was among the most precise in describing exactly how it operates. He observed that your financial life will almost never exceed the ceiling of what you unconsciously believe you deserve. Not what you want. Not what you consciously hope for. What you believe at the deepest level of your identity that you are actually worthy of receiving. This is why so many people experience what researchers now call the financial setpoint phenomenon. They may temporarily earn more, inherit more, or win more than their internal worthiness ceiling permits. But within a predictable period of time, through a combination of spending patterns, missed opportunities, sabotaged relationships, and inexplicable financial decisions, their financial reality returns to the level their subconscious has designated as appropriate for someone like them. The money above the set point finds its way out because the subconscious, working with extraordinary creativity and zero conscious awareness, engineers its departure. You have almost certainly witnessed this pattern, perhaps in your own life, perhaps in the lives of lottery winners who return to financial struggle within years, perhaps in entertainers or athletes who earn fortunes and then somehow find themselves broke. The problem was never the money. The problem was the worthiness ceiling operating invisibly beneath every financial decision they made. The declarations that dismantle this ceiling are different from declarations about flow or circulation. They work at the identity level, the deepest layer of subconscious programming. And they must be spoken specifically during money contact moments because that is when the worthiness programming is most actively engaged. When money is in your hands, your subconscious is running its worthiness calculation in real time. That is precisely when you must interrupt it with a counter-instruction. The declaration is this: I am completely worthy of unlimited abundance. Money in my hands belongs in my hands. I deserve to receive and I deserve to keep and I deserve to multiply everything that comes to me. For many people, speaking those words for the first time produces a reaction that surprises them. Something between resistance and emotion. A tightness in the chest or a sudden awareness of how unfamiliar those words feel. That unfamiliarity is diagnostic. It tells you exactly where the work needs to happen. The more uncomfortable that declaration feels, the more necessary it is. The more your nervous system pushes back, the more clearly it is revealing the worthiness gap that has been silently governing your financial life. Murphy taught that this discomfort is not a sign of failure or self-deception. It is the sensation of an old belief being challenged by a new truth. It is the feeling of the ceiling beginning to crack. Lean into it rather than away from it. Speak the declaration anyway. Speak it especially when it feels untrue, because it is in those moments of felt resistance that the declaration does its deepest work. Drop "worthy of wealth" in the comments below if you felt any resistance reading that declaration and you are choosing to speak it anyway. Let me tell you about a woman I will call Grace. Grace had grown up in a household where money was a source of constant conflict. Her parents argued about it, worried about it, and communicated through both their words and their silences that money was something that caused pain, created division, and was fundamentally untrustworthy. By the time Grace reached adulthood, she had developed a subconscious belief so deeply embedded she was not even aware it existed. Money ruins things. On a conscious level, Grace wanted financial abundance as much as anyone. But beneath that conscious desire was a protective mechanism her subconscious had constructed in childhood. If money causes pain and destruction, the safest thing is to not have very much of it. This invisible belief was so effective at protecting her from the pain she associated with money that it had kept her financially limited for her entire adult life. Not through laziness or lack of intelligence, through a perfectly logical subconscious strategy that was simply operating on outdated information installed before she had any capacity to evaluate it. When Grace discovered Murphy's work and began applying the declarations specifically during money contact moments, the first shift she noticed was not financial at all. It was emotional. She began to notice the subtle anxiety that arose every time she received money. The almost imperceptible urge to spend it quickly, to move it out of her possession before it could cause the conflict her nervous system associated with it. This awareness was the turning point. Because once she could see the pattern, she could interrupt it with a conscious declaration. Every time she received money and felt that familiar urge to move it away quickly, she would pause, hold it, and say, "Money in my life creates peace, expansion, and joy. I welcome it and I honor it and I allow it to stay. That single practice, applied at precisely the right moment with genuine feeling, over a period of 60 days, began to dissolve a belief that had governed her financial life for 30 years. Within 6 months, Grace had done something she had never once managed to do in her adult life. She had saved 3 months of living expenses and left them untouched. Not because her income had dramatically increased, because her subconscious had stopped engineering the departure of money above her old set point. The ceiling had lifted because the belief that built it had been replaced. Type dissolving old beliefs now in the comments if Grace's story is touching something you recognize in your own relationship with money. Now I want to give you something extraordinarily practical that you can implement in the next 24 hours, and that will immediately begin shifting the energetic environment of your financial life. Joseph Murphy spoke often about the power of the physical environment as a continuous subconscious programming mechanism. He understood that your surroundings are never neutral. Every object in your space, every image your eyes rest on, every word displayed in your environment is feeding information to your subconscious mind continuously beneath the threshold of your conscious awareness. Most people's financial environment is unconsciously designed for scarcity. Unpaid bills left visible on countertops, bank statements showing negative balances tucked into drawers, but never fully out of the subconscious awareness. Wallets so worn and depleted, looking that they broadcast lack with every glance, a complete absence of symbols or representations of abundance in the spaces where they spend the most time. The practice is simple and it works on multiple levels simultaneously. Create what Murphy called an abundance anchor in every space where you regularly interact with money or think about money. This might be your desk, your kitchen counter, your car's center console, your bathroom mirror. In each of these spaces, place something that represents abundance to you personally. It could be a crisp bill in a beautiful small frame, a single gold coin in a prominent position, a handwritten card with your most powerful prosperity declaration. An image that evokes for you the visceral feeling of financial freedom. These anchors are not decorative. They are programming tools. Every time your eyes pass over them, every time you register them in your peripheral awareness, your subconscious receives a micro dose of abundance programming. Individually, these micro doses seem insignificant. Cumulatively, across dozens of daily exposures over weeks and months, they create a profound shift in the baseline frequency of your financial environment. Murphy called this surrounding yourself with the evidence of your intention. You are not waiting for abundance to arrive before acknowledging it. You are creating the energetic environment of abundance now, in advance of its physical manifestation, because you understand that the environment must shift first. The external reality follows the internal and environmental programming, never the other way around. Comment building my abundance environment in the comments if you are going to create at least one abundance anchor in your space today. There is a specific combination of words that Joseph Murphy returned to repeatedly across his writing and his teaching. A combination he considered so precisely calibrated to the frequency of abundance that he described it as a master key for financial transformation. He observed that these words, spoken with genuine feeling during the moments of money contact, produced results that seemed to transcend ordinary cause and effect. The words are these: infinite intelligence within me knows exactly how to bring unlimited abundance into my life, and it is doing so now through channels seen and unseen. The reason this declaration carries such extraordinary power lies in its specific architecture. First, it anchors the source of abundance not in external circumstances, not in a specific job or investment or person, but in the infinite intelligence that Murphy believed resided within every human being as their connection to the universal creative power. This removes limitation from the equation entirely. You are not hoping for a specific raise or a specific client or a specific windfall. You are invoking a source of abundance that is by definition unlimited and already present within you. Second, the phrase channels seen and unseen is doing profound subconscious work. It releases your logical mind from the need to know how abundance will arrive. The conscious mind, left to its own devices, will immediately begin calculating the probability of various income scenarios and quietly concluding that the numbers don't add up. By declaring unseen channels, you instruct your subconscious to remain open to pathways your logical mind cannot currently perceive or predict. You are expanding the aperture of possibility beyond what your rational calculations allow. Third, and perhaps most importantly, the phrase "it is doing so now" collapses the distance between declaration and manifestation. You are not projecting abundance into some future moment. You are affirming its present tense activity. Your subconscious mind responds far more powerfully to present tense instructions than future tense wishes. "I will be wealthy" someday places abundance in a perpetually receding future. "Infinite intelligence is bringing abundance to me" now places it in the only moment your subconscious actually inhabits, which is always and only the present. Speak this declaration the next time money is in your hands and notice what happens in your body. Notice the difference between this statement and the habitual thoughts you have been thinking during those same moments. That difference, that shift in your internal experience, is not insignificant. It is the beginning of a new program being installed in the most powerful system you will ever have access to. Type "Master Key" activated in the comments if you are ready to use this declaration. Joseph Murphy's final and perhaps most profound teaching on money was not about technique at all. It was about relationship. He believed that most people's financial struggles were at their core a reflection of a broken relationship, not with a person, not with an institution, but with money itself. They feared it and resented it and felt judged by it and chased it and felt shame in its absence and guilt in its presence. They had never simply made peace with it, never decided to be in a healthy, respectful, appreciative relationship with the energy of money as a neutral and even friendly force in their lives. He suggested a practice that sounds almost absurdly simple until you actually try it. He suggested speaking to money directly. Not metaphorically, not as a visualization exercise, but as a genuine act of relationship building. When you hold money, speak to it. Tell it you are glad it is here. Tell it you honor it and respect it. Tell it that you are a good steward of the energy it represents. Tell it that it is welcome in your life and welcome to stay and welcome to multiply and welcome to bring its friends. This practice works because it bypasses every layer of intellectual resistance and goes straight to the emotional and energetic core of your relationship with abundance. It is impossible to speak warmly and welcomingly to money while simultaneously harboring resentment and fear toward it. The act itself shifts the emotional register, and it is that emotional register, maintained consistently during every money contact moment, that programs the subconscious more powerfully than any amount of intellectual understanding ever could. Your relationship with money begins today, not the relationship you have had. The relationship you are choosing. Speak to it with respect. Speak to it with gratitude. Speak to it with the warmth you would offer any relationship you genuinely wanted to flourish. And watch as it responds the way every relationship responds to being genuinely honored and welcomed. By showing up more fully, more consistently, and in greater abundance than you have ever experienced before. Type "I am in a new relationship with money" in the comments if you are ready to make that choice right now. And if this continuation of Joseph Murphy's wisdom has given you something real to work with, please share this video with someone whose financial life you care about. Because the greatest act of abundance is passing this understanding to someone who needs it. Right beside this video is one that goes even deeper into Murphy's teachings on the subconscious and wealth. Click it and let us keep building this together. 11:46 a.m. There is something that happens to a person when they finally stop fighting money. Not surrendering to lack, not accepting limitation, not giving up on the vision of a financially free life, but stopping the internal war, the constant low-grade battle between wanting abundance and simultaneously fearing it, resenting it, doubting it, and feeling fundamentally unworthy of it. Joseph Murphy described this moment of ceasing internal conflict as the most important threshold a person can cross on their journey toward genuine financial transformation. Because it is only in the absence of that internal war that the subconscious mind can finally receive clear, uncontested instructions and act on them with its full and extraordinary power. Most people are sending mixed signals to their subconscious every single day. On one level, they are affirming abundance, visualizing prosperity, speaking declarations of wealth. But beneath those conscious efforts, running quietly and powerfully in the deeper layers of their programming, is a counter-signal, a voice that says, "But not for me," or "Yes, but what if it doesn't work?" or "I want this, but I'm not sure I believe it." These counter-signals don't cancel the declarations entirely, but they dilute them. They create static in the transmission, and a static-filled signal produces static-filled results. Partial progress, 2 steps forward and 1 step back, improvement that never quite reaches the threshold of genuine transformation. Murphy's solution to this internal conflict was not to fight harder on the conscious level. It was not to speak declarations more loudly or more frequently or with more forced enthusiasm. His solution was to go deeper, to find the source of the counter, signal and dissolve it rather than shout over it. And the source, in virtually every case he studied, was a single core belief operating at the foundation of the person's financial identity. A belief that sounded something like this: "There is something about me specifically that makes abundance unavailable to me in the way it is available to others." This belief wears many disguises. Sometimes it sounds like "I grew up poor, so money has never been part of my world." Sometimes it sounds like "I've made too many financial mistakes to deserve a fresh start." Sometimes it sounds like "Other people are just luckier or smarter or more connected than I am." Sometimes it is wordless, just a feeling, a quiet and persistent sense of being somehow outside the circle of people for whom financial abundance is a realistic outcome. Murphy called this the exclusion belief, and he considered it the single most destructive financial program a person could carry. Not because it is logical. It is spectacularly illogical. But because it operates beneath the threshold of conscious examination, quietly vetoing every prosperity effort before it can fully take root. The declaration that addresses the exclusion belief directly and begins to dissolve it at its foundation is this: "I am not excluded from abundance. I am included in the infinite prosperity of the universe. Everything that has ever flowed to anyone can flow to me. I belong in the circle of abundance completely and without exception." Speak those words slowly. Give each sentence space to land, and notice particularly the last line: "I belong in the circle of abundance completely and without exception." For many people, that final phrase is where the emotional response arises, because belonging is the precise wound the exclusion belief inflicts. It says you are on the outside looking in, and the counter-declaration says with complete authority, you have always been on the inside. The door was never locked. You simply believed it was. Type "I belong in abundance" in the comments if those words reached something real in you. Now I want to give you something that Murphy described as the capstone practice, the one that brings all the other declarations and rituals into a unified and continuously operating system of prosperity programming. He called it the Prosperity Identity Statement, and he recommended that every person committed to financial transformation create their own version of it, speak it daily, and most importantly, speak it in the moments of greatest financial stress, the moments when the old programming pushes back most aggressively. A prosperity identity statement is not a list of things you want. It is a declaration of who you are. It operates at the identity level of the subconscious rather than the desire level. And this distinction matters enormously because the subconscious mind is fundamentally an identity maintenance system. It works tirelessly to produce a reality consistent with whoever it believes you are. Change the identity it is working from, and you change the reality it produces. It is that direct. It is that powerful. Here is an example of a complete prosperity identity statement built on Murphy's principles. You can use this exactly as written or adapt it to feel authentically yours. What matters is that every word of it resonates as true at some level. Even if it is the level of what you're claiming rather than what you currently see. I am a person of genuine and unlimited abundance. Money flows to me easily and consistently from sources I expect and sources I could never have predicted. I handle money with wisdom, respect, and gratitude. I give freely and I receive freely, and I understand that both are expressions of the same infinite flow. My financial life expands continuously because my consciousness expands continuously. I am worthy of wealth. I am capable of wealth. I am comfortable with wealth. Every day I move closer to the complete financial freedom that is my natural birthright as a conscious participant in an infinitely abundant universe. Read that statement daily. Read it while holding physical money. Read it in the morning when your subconscious is most receptive. Read it in moments of financial anxiety when the old programming is loudest. Read it not as a wish, but as a report. A description of who you actually are at the level of your truest and most essential nature, beneath all the programming and conditioning and inherited beliefs that have temporarily obscured that nature from your own view. Murphy's deepest conviction was this: abundance is not something you achieve. It is something you remember. It is the truth of what you are when everything false has been stripped away. The declarations, the rituals, the gateway moment practices, the morning blessings and the evening reviews, they are not manufacturing something new. They are excavating something original. They are removing the accumulated debris of fear-based programming to reveal the prosperous consciousness that was always your foundation. This is the truth that changes everything when it moves from intellectual understanding to lived experience. You are not a poor person trying to become rich. You are not a struggling person trying to achieve abundance. You are inherently abundant being who temporarily forgot that truth and has been living inside the story of that forgetting. Every declaration you speak, every gateway moment you use consciously, every morning you hold money with gratitude and intention is an act of remembering. A step back toward the truth of what you have always been. Type "remembering my abundance" in the comments if that distinction has shifted something fundamental in how you see this journey. Let me leave you with one final image that Joseph Murphy returned to often in his teaching because he felt it captured the essence of everything he understood about the relationship between human consciousness and financial reality. He described a vast underground river of abundance running beneath the surface of every human life without exception. This river does not choose who it flows beneath. It does not evaluate worthiness or assess past mistakes or calculate how much struggle a person has already endured. It flows beneath every life with equal generosity and equal power. The difference between those who experience abundance and those who experience lack is not proximity to the river. Everyone is equally close. The difference is whether they have dug a channel to reach it. The declarations you speak when money is in your hands are that channel. Each one drives the excavation a little deeper. Each consistent practice clears a little more of the distance between the surface of your current experience and the river of abundance that has been flowing beneath it all along. There is no question of whether the river exists or whether it can reach you. The only question is whether you are willing to dig, whether you are willing to do the daily, consistent, sometimes uncomfortable work of speaking new truths into the gateway moments of your financial life until those truths become the automatic programming of your subconscious mind. Joseph Murphy dedicated his life to teaching people that they were never as far from abundance as they felt. That the distance was measured not in years of effort or mountains of circumstance, but in the thin layer of unconscious programming separating them from what was always available, and that the tool for dissolving that layer was always in their hands. Literally. In those moments when money touched their skin and their words had the power to program either limitation or freedom into the system that would spend every waking and sleeping hour of their life building whatever reality they commanded. You have that tool. You have always had it. You simply did not know what it was for. Now you do. Type "My channel is open" in the comments if you are ready to reach the river. And if this complete body of wisdom has genuinely shifted your relationship with money and with what is possible for your financial life, please share this video with someone you love who is still living inside the story of financial limitation. Your act of sharing is itself a prosperity declaration. It is proof that you live in a world of abundance worth giving away. If you have stayed with this journey all the way to this final word, you have already demonstrated the quality that Murphy identified as the single most reliable predictor of financial transformation. Not intelligence, not talent, not favorable circumstances. Commitment, the willingness to stay present with something that matters even when it requires effort. That quality will serve you in every declaration you speak, every gateway moment you use consciously. Every morning you choose to program abundance, rather than accept the default of whatever the world installed in you before you knew you had a choice. The river is real. The channel is yours to dig. And every word you speak when money touches your hands from this moment forward is a strike of the shovel. Begin